Hey y'all, it's me again, and it's time for another round of I Been Watching. And what's old Donnie been watching this week? Well, you can't tell by the shades, Daredevil Born Again. So now let me switch into the glasses I can properly see y'all with, and let's get started. Alright, so this will be a bit of a series within a series for I Been Watching, because this week we're going to focus on season 1 of Daredevil Born Again before we go to season 2, or what's out of it so far next week. Out of the gate, season 1, tear the heartstrings out. Spoiler alert, naturally, for the rest of the statement here. They killed Foggy Nelson. At the hands of Bullseye under orders of Vanessa Fisk, they took out our boy, and no more Murdoch, Nelson, and Page. Simply Murdoch and Page, and they were both a wreck. Wilson Fisk was the mayor. As I said, his wife had poor Foggy killed by Bullseye. There's all kinds of people under Fisk that are suffering, but we'll talk about characters a little more specifically soon. Fisk has decided he is going all out against vigilantes. White Tiger gets killed. His niece takes up his mantle, but we'll talk more about that next time. Punisher's back in a big way, and he's got some fanboys that he is not a fan of. So by the end of the season, things are getting real rough. We even got some folks locked up in a secret private prison of the Kingpins. Now, you may be wondering how Daredevil's going to get out of this one. He has decided he's going to build him an army, and we'll talk a little more about that next week too. So that's our story. 5 out of 5. Wonderful, great. Let's focus on where it took our characters. So the man himself, Matt Murdock, gets a 5 out of 5 because this was just a roller coaster for Matt. From the moment Foggy died, he nearly killed Bullseye. He really had a very intense conversation with Frank about the subject. By the end of the season, he really took up this role of the man without fear, even more so than he already has in the past. So yeah, definitely a 5 out of 5 for Matt. Now, unfortunately, I'm going to give Karen a 4 out of 5 just because I feel like she should have been more important than she was. You know, she felt like she came and went a lot. She felt very side character in that first season. So, I mean, she's a great character. She's doing great stuff in season 2, but I just felt like Karen was just a 4 out of 5 in season 1, personally. Another victim of the 4 out of 5 because they kind of felt like they were being thrown around and not used as well as they could be, and has improved in season 2, is none other than the man that doesn't miss, Bullseye. He was a great character. His role in Foggy's death was great. His jail breakout scene with his tooth, also great. But at times, he just felt disconnected from the rest of the story for me personally. The Kingpin himself gets a 5 out of 5 because Vincent D'Onofrio just phenomenal in this role. Every time he does it, he does a great job with it. I really felt like that another reason I got the Spider-Man shirt on, in like the first couple episodes, he makes a reference on TV about where a man dressed in a spider outfit, and you could just hear the venom in his voice. He was so mad, and I just loved it. Kingpin, 5 out of 5. Great job. Honestly, one of the scarier Marvel villains right now, if I'm being truthful. 2 more people who did very great jobs but also suffered from the 4 out of 5 because they got sort of thrown around the club is BB Urich and Daniel. Both good characters, but both I feel like have grown a lot more since season 1 because, like I say, they had great stories. They were used really well, and James Gandolfini's son, I cannot say enough good words about his acting. Like, I got stuck there for a second because even though he was a little underutilized to me at times in the first season, and there were some confusing things about his character, he did great with it. He performed it really well, and I can't wait to talk about where he's at in season 2 because he's doing even better. Now we've got, would you call her the Queen Pin? Vanessa Fisk, also a 5 out of 5 because honestly, she was, next to Wilson, one of the scarier parts of the season, and I don't mean that in like a supernatural fear thing. I mean, she's the reason Foggy's dead. Bullseye pulled the trigger, but she made the order. That was deep. Our only 3 out of 5 is a gentleman named Buck Cashman, who honestly, if he's a referenced character in comics, I'm sorry, I've got no idea who he is. I'm probably need to look him up at some point, but I'm just lost on Buck. He feels very weirdly placed. Sorry, man. A little better in season 2, I guess. Frank Castle gets a 5 out of 5. If he earned it through nothing else, through two scenes. One of them was what about Foggy? Did he get life? Great. Him and Matt, that was one of the scenes that earned them both a 5 out of 5 for me. Just great job. Because I didn't mention it in the Daredevil section, but I also really like where he's like, that's the most honest thing you did, counselor, after Matt, I think, punched him or slapped him or something. It's been a while since I watched season 1, I'm not gonna lie. And then the second one would be that part with him and the fanboys, the anti-vigilante task force, where he's like, you're a bunch of clowns and I wouldn't piss on you if you were on fire. 5 out of 5. We love you, Frank. Can't wait for Punisher One Last Kill. Another pair of characters who I'm going to pair up for their review, but also got the same number scoring, was the 5 out of 5 of Heather Glenn and Muse. Heather's character development and her hatred for vigilantes, which only grew after her encounter with Muse. Love it. She played it really well. I think that she's going to be a character to watch for a while, and I wouldn't be surprised if she ends up taking on a mask of her own. But we'll talk about that in the season 2 video. And then Muse, even though he didn't speak much in the mask, and when he did speak out of the mask, he was terrifying. Right after the Fisks, this was a really nice trifecta of villains. I know Bullseye was still in the villains there, but of the 3, we had Muse, who was really well advertised in the material before the season even started. Muse was done really well. Heather being sort of an interactant with Muse was really great, and I like where they're taking that in season 2, because even Muse's story isn't over yet. Okay, White Tiger is getting 2 different scores from me. The White Tiger storyline gets a 4 out of 5 because it felt like they didn't explain a lot about they sort of implied the amulet is very somehow magical or mystical, but they just sort of blanked out after that. And killing him off, I guess that was okay if you're going to use his niece to be his predecessor, but it just, to me personally, it would have made more sense if there was more exposition, I guess, about the talisman and what it does. So yeah, the White Tiger storyline, 4 out of 5. Characterization, though, for both Hector and, I want to say, Angela, forgive me if I'm getting the name wrong, both great. I can't wait to see where the whole White Tiger storyline goes with season 2. That's going to be awesome. So, overall, we've got a 63 out of 70 or a 90% for Daredevil Born Again Season 1. Street level Marvel's looking absolutely awesome, so y'all go check it out.